Today I'm going to tie in a quill wing for a dry fly and show you how easy it is without being so frustrated and splitting the quills. So I'm going to add thread to the shank of the hook so that when I start attaching the materials, they will not just keep sliding all around the hook shank. So what I did was I cut two sections, a left and a right, of the quill wing, a duck quill mallard, and I'll show you that the thickness is the gap of the hook. I will measure it to the shank of the hook from the tip to the bend of the hook, and then I'll move it into the tying spot, which is about 1/4 of the shank away from the eye of the hook, so 1/4 length. So the next step I'll do is I take the thread and I put it in between my thumb and index finger, and I will let the bobbin slide down, and I will hold the quill wings together so that when the weight of the bobbin comes down, none of the quills will split. So I'll do this one more time, hold it, let it drop down, and now I'll lock it into position. This is the pinch loop method. I'm pinching the material onto the shank of the hook above the shank, and then the loop part is when it goes between the thumb index finger and you let it slide down and then you want to pull it up. So that is now secure. Then what I'll do is pick up the wing and I'll put what is called like a thread dam in front of the wing so that the wings will stand straight up as such, and now I'll cut the butts off. I'll just take my bodkin and I will just put it in between the two wing slips so to get a little separation as such. And then what I'll do is just pass the thread through the middle loosely. There is no pressure at all. And then one more time through. That will help them stay apart. Pick them back up again and put a couple of wraps in front. And that is the wing now. As you can see, they are totally split and divided. I'll take the thread all the way back to the bend of the hook and we'll complete the fly. I'll add a tail. I'll line the thread up to the barb of the hook. I'm going to take some hackle fibers, measure them, see that they're the length of the shank of the hook. That's going to be the tail. And now I will move them to the bend of the hook. Pinch loop method. I'm pinching the material on top of the hook. I'm making a loop and I'm tightening it on the up pull. And I'll secure that right into place. Now I'll dub the body. I'll just take a very small amount of muskrat underbody fur, twist it in place one direction on the thread, slide it up, and I'm going to start with this, hold the tail in place for the first couple of wraps, and then continue dubbing the body. I can't emphasize enough that the least amount that you put on makes the fly a nice looking fly, a tight fly, and it will be a longer lasting fly. So and what I'm doing is I'm tapering the body as I go towards the wing. And I'm showing you without spinning the vise, so that if you don't have a nor vise, you could do this with any vise. but it does make it easier if you do have a nice rotation vise. So now I left a spot in between the body and the wing. Now I'm going to take a hackle that's already been prepared, taking all the fluff out, the webbiness. I'm going to stick the stem underneath the shank of the hook, catching the thread, and tie it right behind the wing, and then catch the stem in front, and then trim the stem off. Now I'll take my hackle pliers, I'll hold it in place, pull, and just rotate. But as I want to let you know, you got to be very careful with the wing. You just want to get the hackle behind the wing, so you want about 3 turns, because if you just hit the hackle with that wing, it's going to split off, and you don't want the fibers to split. So I'm being very careful. I'm protecting the wing, and I'm placing the hackle right in front. And now I'm going to get to the point where I take my bobbin and I will tie it right behind the hackle. 3 good turns, and then I will cut the stem right off, and then I'll get ready to just whip finish. Put a nice little head on here. And trim. And if I have any hackles that were caught at this point, I could just trim them off as such. So I look at the wing is perfect, no problems, leaning forward, tips are forward, still got that nice split, and the underbody looks nice. I'm tying the Leadwing Coachman, a wet fly, to show how to use the quill wings. So I'm going to put a base of thread on the shank of the hook so that materials will stay on the shank and not slide around. So that adds a good friction base to it. And with the wet fly, the wings are put on last, where the dry fly, the wing was put on first. So I'm going to tie a tag. A tag is a piece of material tied at the bend of the hook, but goes down the bend about 2 or 3 turns, and then will make its way back to the bend of the hook. This is a gold tag, so the gold tinsel will be facing out. So let me just secure the tag in place as so, and trim the mylar tinsel. And you know, if you have any extra, just bury it. This body is a peacock curl body, so I'm going to tie in the peacock curl by the tips, and I'm going to make a peacock curl rope. So what's nice about using the Nor vise, you could just line the peacock curl and spin, and you'll make a nice peacock rope. Now I can take that rope and I could now spin to make a nice body. And now I can secure the peacock herl to the shank of the hook. Now I'm going to tie in a hen hackle, a hen feather, a hackle from a hen. I'm going to tie it in by the tip. I stroke the fibers perpendicular from the stem. And then I'll take my hackle pliers and with each turn I will stroke the fibers back so that the fibers bend back towards the bend of the hook. And I'll put a couple of wraps in front to help bend them back. And if you want, you lick your fingers, your index finger and your thumb, and you can stroke them down and make a beard out of them. Any fibers that are over the eye, at this point, you can cut. Once again, the quill is as thick as the gap is wide, but the placement of for wet flies, you want almost a tent wing. You don't want the tips to extend past the barb of the hook, and you want your index finger to hold that right along the shank, and then get ready for the second quill wing and match the tip points up, hold it in place, take your thread, pinch loop method, hold the fibers, let's do it again, pinch loop, let the weight of the bobbin come down, pinch loop, let it slide down, and then secure that in place, and the wing should set nice over the body. Using the bend of the eye, it should line up, cut, to help make this a nice tapered head. Take your thread, and now we'll build a nice tapered head. In place, take your whip finisher, and with a razor just trim it out of the way. The wing is nicely set. At this point you could put a drop of head cement right on the thread wraps. Get a nice clear look. And this is the Leadwing Coachman. You want that nice, where they're almost meeting, where they could meet. You want the hackle not to go past the barb point, and that's it. Thank you.